I've got it in for some bank coins. See phrases in my head and I count them in bed like generational wealth, but I count my coins like call it on me, but I'll be wealthy. All in my head. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanim. Woo, we have a doozy here. There was an article today, and it's titled, Spain's Central Bank to Experiment with Wholesale CBDC. Let's read this little tidbit here. Things are getting interesting, folks. The Central Bank of Spain announced plans to launch its own experimental program for a wholesale CBDC. The Bank of Spain is looking to collaborate with organizations. That's key here. If you want to read this, this is on cryptodaily.co.uk, all right? This is key. They're looking to collaborate with organizations that are interested in participating in an experimental program for a wholesale. Wholesale? Who's better than XRP at wholesale? Interbank payments, bank to bank. I know what somebody out there is saying, but let's read a little bit more. Oh, it's getting real good. Let's keep going. According to a statement on December 5th, the bank will focus on 3 main areas. The program seeks to simulate the movement of funds, experiment with the liquidation of financial assets, liquidity, and analyze the benefits and drawbacks of introducing a wholesale CBDC to its current processes and infrastructure. Who has more experience than us at XRP when we're talking about interbank payments and working with banks, working with wholesale CBDC design? But don't worry, we're going somewhere with this. We're going somewhere. Just bear with me. The institution is also seeking the collaboration of companies in the industry that will be able to formulate their proposals on the project. The bank explained that the study can help them determine to what extent it can adapt to the needs and demands of an increasingly digital society. I made a post. Listen, if you're in the members only section already, hey, make sure you're going over to the channel. I know sometimes it can be tedious, like YouTube designs it this way. I don't know if they send it out in people's messages, notifications, emails. I have no idea. The only way that they inform me that you receive information is if I tell you to go over to the channel and read those posts. There's a reason this is happening. 2 things happen at once. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. There's pressures. Let's just say that. But you'll see that post over there. The bank explained that the study can help determine to what extent it can adapt to the needs and demands of an increasingly digital society. These CBDCs are going to be big for anybody who's invested early on. Like right now, we're early into whatever may back a CBDC. There's a lot of reasons why whatever it is that they're running their CBDCs across as infrastructure or using as bridge currencies, why they can explode. Listen, the stacking of gold should tell you everything you need to know about the lack of actual value or liquidity that they have in the market. There's a lot. We covered articles recently, didn't we? I showed you. I'm ringing the alarm. What did the Fed say? We covered it about 2 weeks ago. The Fed literally said that a lot of what they have has been rendered illiquid. And they also clarified there's a lot of illiquid value out there. We have the liquidity. So if a lot of what they're like, for instance, they'll buy a lot of things to help the economy and you know, bring certain value and such like that. They'll buy things back, right? Like bonds and stuff like that. Okay. But a lot of what they purchase is illiquid at that particular time. So let's say the petrodollar crashes, right? It's greatly diminished at some point, right? If it happens or not, anybody's guess. We'll see. We have to keep up with the catalyst with the BRICS nations mostly. But let's say that happens. Then you combine that with the illiquidity of a lot of different things that they're involved in already. A lot of that value is just locked up, right? Then you combine that with the illiquidity of a lot of people's value locked up in real estate, fine art, things that they can't move right now in this bad economy. There's a lot of illiquid value. Where do you get that liquidity from? If you're the banks, Let's say there's something happens. The petrodollar crashes. That's definitely possible. Let's say that there's more conflict. That's definitely possible. If you're keeping up with current events, people start pulling their money out of your bank. But then in addition to that, your bank barely had any money at all as it is, because your banks have to give so much to the central banks. Reserves, anyone? Reserves, right? Then you have all that other stuff that you're lending out. Can you extract that value from what you've been lending out? We know that this has been a problem in the banking system. So you're taking all of that together. What we're looking at is the biggest liquidity crisis that mankind has ever seen. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. No matter how you spin it, we're looking at the biggest liquidity crisis known to mankind, and we are holding the only solutions. Who cares how long it takes? I don't think it's going to take long. I don't. I'm not sure that they even make it to the timeline. Bank of International Settlements is now, they were once saying 4 to 5 years. They're now pushing a 2 to 3 year timeline. Why did they move it up? There's a reason they moved it up, because they see the liquidity crisis coming. It's coming. I don't know if they make it that far. If the governments and central banks make it that far. This is why they're so desperate in attacking all the basic crypto companies. Bank coins are in a pretty good position no matter what, because they literally need them. But the rest of crypto is not. They're going after the rest of crypto. Pay attention. There's a reason for that. They're desperate. You ever seen a wild animal backed against a wall? The hunters on them? That's when things get really crazy. That's what we're bearing witness to right now, in my humble opinion. But hang in there with me. We're going somewhere. But I have to get these thoughts out. I think like that, in like pieces, and I piece them together like a puzzle, okay? This is getting real interesting. So, the program seeks to simulate the movement of funds, experiment with liquidation of financial assets, and analyze the benefits and drawbacks of introducing the wholesale CBDC. Now, I want to go back. There's a part here that was key, where they're talking about they want to collaborate with organizations. Now, someone may say, well, hey, is Ripple even in Spain? Do you remember PeerSyst? We've been covering PeerSyst, P-E-E-R, Syst. We've been covering PeerSyst for quite some time. They're the ones who are utilizing the XRPL to do the land registries in Latin America. Guess where their headquarters is? Oh my gosh. I mean, we're winning too much. I know somebody in the comment section is going to say, because they said it before, you're not winning anything. Listen, I get it. I understand the frustration, the anger, and such like that. And I'm not here to convince you or change your mind. But we're winning too much. We are. Their headquarters, PeerSyst headquarters, is in Barcelona, Spain. Boom. You mean to tell me that one of the companies that's at the forefront of the XRPL, utilizing the prestigious XRPL that's been used by all banks, you mean to tell me that you think that they're not one of the companies that was knocking at the door of the Central Bank of Spain? Or is this the Central Bank? Yeah, the Central Bank of Spain? You mean to tell me you don't believe that they're one of those companies that were knocking on their door, telling them, hey, we specialize. We partner with Ripple. We specialize in interbank payments. Let us help you out. I think there's a good likelihood that happens or has happened. Oh, they're right in Spain, Barcelona. Let's go here, okay? I'm getting a little too excited. I don't get excited all the time, right? So permit me a little bit of fun, all right? Oh, man. So just to clarify, to give you proof, okay? So what I'm doing here, I'm giving you proof that what I'm saying is real. This is an article from Crypto Globe. Spanish blockchain startup demonstrates a new use for XRP ledgers. This is about PeerSyst, all right? And it even started out with this sentence: Barcelona headquartered blockchain startup PeerSyst recently partnered with fintech firm Ripple to demonstrate a new use case for the open source public XRP ledger. Partner with Ripple. There's actually a bunch of news about CBDCs today, actually. And they have the benefit of saying nobody does it better than us. We have over 400 financial institutions. Even Amazon Web Services, even though they haven't updated in quite some time, says Ripple has more than hundreds of financial institutions. We have over, was it Ripple or Quant that had over plus 100 tier 1 banks? Was it Ripple or Quant? We covered that recently, but I can't remember which one because they're both so deep in banks that the information in my mind, it just gets merged together really, but it really doesn't matter. Both of them are have hundreds of banks lined up to use them. It's mind blowing in my humble opinion. And it's a shame that you have all of this evidence out here and the people they don't care about the evidence. They don't care about it actually being concrete and right in front of them. It's almost like it's too, how do you put that? Like they don't want to believe it. You ever see something that's so shocking that you still don't want to believe it? It's like that, right? Pierce says, coding the future of blockchain. We build software to help the adoption of blockchain technology for people, businesses, and organizations. So, and once again, to verify on their actual Twitter, it says Barcelona, España, Spain. We're in there. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. That has me very excited. Very, very excited. We'll see what happens. I believe Pierce is at their door or will be at their door. If not, Ripple should directly go there. I wouldn't even leave it to anyone else. I'd be at their door knocking, virtual meetings, and I'm pretty sure that they're doing that. All the top people are doing that. All right. Algorand could get in there too, as well. But that's another topic. We'll discuss that another time. Algorand could be in there as well. So now let's just cover a little bit of this. This article here is on finbold.com. I appreciate everyone being here. If you enjoyed this video at any moment, please click that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. You know I do. Let's get this little update here. This is titled Ripple versus SEC Court Update as of December 12th, 2022. And we're going to begin here at this piece. It says, furthermore, he asserted that, quote, Ripple does not depend on a conclusion that XRP was purchased for use, though such a conclusion, as shown in the Amici briefs, and the non-speculative evidence would defeat the SEC's claims. Of course, this is from Stuart Algorand, by the way. Algorand continued by reiterating the defense's actual arguments. Quote, A, there is no contract for an investment between Ripple and any XRP holder. I've been saying that for the longest. I mean, it's quite clear, but the SEC is rogue, so you know already what we're dealing with. It's just wanton ignorance. B, the SEC cannot satisfy a single prong of the Howey test, and Ripple concedes not a single prong. They've conceded nothing. They concede nothing. All right, let's keep going. C, the SEC's reliance on garden variety ICO cases have no application here. I agree. They don't even have the same use cases. We're not even in the same universe as those other crypto companies. Just because they have the word crypto attached to them does not mean that we're all the same. I mean, that's ridiculous. As he concluded, quote, the reason the SEC and detractors try to recast our arguments is they have no answer for the arguments we actually make. And end of quote. That right there sounds like victory to me. That sounds like victory. Now, I don't know what's actually going to happen. I don't proclaim to. I believe, based on all the evidence, we have a clear-cut victory coming. It's my humble opinion. There's been ideas of settlement floating around. No matter what happens, really, we're going to come out on top. We're going to win. In my humble opinion, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, okay? But just going by this, I think we have a victory on our hands. I really do. I feel that way powerfully. So personally, I say don't settle. I say go all the way. We've been fighting this whole time. Go all the way. And let's bring home the victory. That's how I feel. I think a lot of people at Ripple feel that way. I think the lawyers feel that way, but we will see. We will see. People were floating out there. What was that date they were floating around? December the 15th? We'll see. 3 days away. We'll see. We will see. But I say take it all the way. I saw a lot of politicians also making postings saying take it all the way because this has huge implications across the board. So, but what that sounded like That sounded like a clean-cut victory, in my humble opinion. And we've been racking up small victories along the way, leading up to hopefully the big victory. So now let's continue on here. All right. So also some more XRP news. And I didn't see this before. I try to stay up to date with Ripple X as much as I can. I believe that's what it's called, Ripple X. But they made a retweet here from Kamikaze Mansuda. We have finally gone live with our beta. We are very excited to share our platform with the community and bring music to the XRPL music now. Man, listen, the XRPL has been doing great. Ripple's been doing great. They're starting to spread out and become very complete. Like Algorand. Algorand led the way, in my humble opinion. Algorand led the way. They are the most diversified, evenly balanced, and have the most solid projects in every possible way. Gaming, music, banking, traceability, healthcare, advertising. Holy smokes, they're doing a great job. NFTs of all different kinds. But XRPL is starting to get there. So now they have a music offering. We just covered some music with music offerings with Algorand the other day. Dequency, they had some announcements in that. Opulus, they had some announcements in conjunction with that. This is very good, though. I love to see this. So it says here, more tweets. The Sonar music platform, or Muse platform, sorry about that, currently has limited functionality available. Of course, it's beta. As we work with our current beta testers to work on the platform before the public can have full access. Either way, this is a good development. Great development. We have enabled the music store for listening purposes only, no purchasing at the moment, and have some tools available for the community to set up their accounts with us. We also have some guides on how to register for the platform and qualify for the hashtag WYM token distribution. Okay, so then they get into stuff like that. I'll leave that out. Like, I don't have anything to do with that. So, but this is very, very good in my humble opinion. I like to see things like this. Let's move on to another article here. Okay, so now we're going to get into some XLM news. Now, there was a commenter. I believe the commenter's name was Bitcoin Genie, all right? So big shout out to Bitcoin Genie. And Bitcoin Genie asked the question. I believe it was something akin to, what do you think about the Stronghold partnership with Stellar? And at first, when I was thinking about it, I said to myself, well, I remember that they had a stable coin offering, something like that. So I really didn't think much of it. I'm like, this is more stable coins, good congestion and such. No, this individual knew what they were talking about. They knew they were leading Alphanim down a rabbit hole. Now, listen here, okay? I encourage everyone who holds a little bit of Stellar to go to stronghold.co, all right? Because there is a document there. Scroll down their page, the home page. You're going to see where it says SHX or something like that. It's at the very bottom, SHX, and you can click on it and it leads you to a document. You have to put your email in to read it. I cannot post that here. It literally on every page says private and confidential. But let me say this. I'm not sure. Look, Stronghold and Stronghold's protocol, SHX, is built on Stellar protocol, all right? Now, I'm not sure of the implications here, but we do know the basics. Every account that is on Stellar must hold a minimum of lumens. Minimum of lumens, right? Lumens provides the friction. Also, when there's congestion on chain, everything brings congestion to the chain. When there's congestion on the chain, surge pricing is triggered and that price can go up. I'm not saying it will, it can go up, okay? Now, another thing to never forget, that when you read about lumens on Stellar, stellar.org, it specifically tells you that if ever anything is rendered illiquid, if ever there needs to be another medium to move money through, that XLM provides the liquidity, lumens. Lumens can always provide liquidity for what? Otherwise illiquid assets. I want you to take a look. So XLM is in play no matter what, whoever uses the Stellar chain. It's an integral part. All right. I want you to take a look at who Stronghold is working with. Click on that document, right? I can't tell you what to do, but let's say you click on that document and you look at the companies that Stronghold is in bed with. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Look at what they're trying to do with payments. Then they're going to bring a lot if everything goes according to plan. And I'm assuming they're waiting to flip the switch like everyone else for regulatory clarity to be enacted. But if that were to happen, they're going to bring a ton of congestion to the chain. A ton. It's hard to explain, but their protocol, their token that's built on Stellar protocol, it has to be used for everything. Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Quant. When I was reading this document, the way that they're utilizing the SHX token that's built on Stellar protocol, it reminded me so much of Quant. It was mind-blowing. Now, we'll wait to see how everything plays out, but it was unbelievable in my humble opinion. Once again, like I said, I'm trying not to say too much from that document. Check it out. It's right here under markets. It says SHX. All right, you click on that there. It's going to take you to another page. It is going to say view white paper. Then you can click on that, right? Then you're going to have to input your email to get the rest of the information. When you click on that, first you see this little post here that I can read. It says, most tokens store value. SHX creates it. Now, when you have all of this congestion on Stellar, theoretically speaking, and you have individuals possibly locking up value on Stellar, which is going to create constant congestion, what does it do to surge pricing? Then what does it do to the price of XLM that surge pricing affects? So anyway, I'm going to continue to look deeper into this now that I'm in the rabbit hole. So we got a little bit of Algorand news here. This was posted or retweeted rather by Stacy Warden herself, one of our champions, one of our winners, bringing in the big partnerships, doing a great job over there at Algorand Foundation. And it says here, Folks Finance, V2 at Folks Finance. Folks V2 is now live on Algorand mainnet. Try it out now. app.folks.finance, complete documentation and user guide. So this is another good thing. We continue to expand at Algorand. We continue to grow. We're dominating in every possible way. You're even seeing some of the strongest offerings on Algorand get upgrades. That is very, very good. Now let's move on here. All right. More Algorand news. So this is an article on Cointelegraph. All right, so check them out. They're doing a great job. And it's titled, The Future of Smart Contract Adoption for Enterprises. Listen, the scale at which Algorand is attempting to operate is going to bring a lot of congestion to chain, a lot of volume, and a ton of value. Like I said, I don't believe there's enough bank coins to go around. I don't. I think in the future, a lot of these bank coins, you're only going to be able to buy a piece. Then with the future of staking, which I believe will be much more secure, and a lot of value being locked up on chain, because a lot of these tokens, especially like Algo, you got to hold them in order to participate in governance. That value theoretically could increase exponentially. Explode, as I like to say. I see Algo just exploding in everything happens in degrees. I don't want to get too excited, but you see where I'm going. I love where Algorand is headed. If you saw what it did in that last bull market, that's nothing compared to what it can do in the coming bull markets in the future when there's regulatory clarity. Just my humble opinion, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And it doesn't matter to me whether you buy or sell at all. I'm here for the bank's money. And so far, the banks have been lining up. They've been lining up for the bank coins. Look at all the partnerships we've been dealing with. So let's read this little tidbit here. It says how smart contracts are advancing. This they wrote with the CTO of Algorand. OK, this paragraph goes as such. Given this potential, it's become clear that smart contracts must advance in order to accommodate growth. John Woods, Chief Technology Officer of the Algorand blockchain, the supporting organization of the eponymous blockchain ecosystem, told Cointelegraph that today's smart contracts have a number of technical restrictions, such as scalability issues, which have resulted in slow transaction time and the inability to process complex computations. Well, we know Algorand can solve that. This is going to be easy work. Woods shared that smart contracts uploaded to Algorand blockchain are applied primarily to traditional DeFi use cases that enable things like automatic trading of on-chain digital assets. Yet, when it comes to enterprise use cases, Woods mentioned that he believes it's best to put as little information on chain as possible. He said, quote, "I've previously worked with large enterprises that would want to conduct DeFi use cases like post-trade settlement on blockchain network. When I was building those enterprise applications, I would only put the most important pieces of information on chain," which makes a lot of sense, right? And frees up a lot of different space and capabilities, I would think. This would allow smart contracts to perform efficiently without having to do heavy computation on chain. Like I said, it makes perfect sense in my humble opinion. According to Woods, this methodology allows enterprises to benefit from smart contracts, yet only when simple computations are involved. While this may serve as a solution to current limitations, advancements are being made to ensure that all enterprise data can be supported by smart contracts. All enterprise data. Oh man, I love Algorand. Hey, listen, Algorand, continue to do well. I'm very excited about the future. So now let's move on here. So a little bit of money news. All right. The South African Rand was trading around 17.6 against the US dollar, the lowest since December 1st, mainly pressured by domestic political uncertainty. South African lawmakers will decide Tuesday whether to institute certain proceedings. I'm not going to, you don't want to read that political stuff here on YouTube, so let's just go away from that. Let's scroll down to the chart here. So right now, the chart actually is reading US dollar. South African Rand 17.5 is plus 0.24. Okay, that's how much is up. Plus 1.38%. So not bad, not bad. I'm gonna keep my eye on you, South African Rand. So now let's go here to another little bit of money news, right? US dollar slips as markets expect lower inflation, slowing Fed hikes, which makes perfect sense as you're seeing everything else come up. Usually when the dollar comes up, when the dollar comes down, everything else goes up. When the dollar goes up, everything else comes down. Man, that dollar, it's like Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin. It controls everything. The dollar fell on Monday in thin trading as investors priced in a lower U.S. consumer price inflation number for November, and a Federal Reserve likely to slow the pace of its rate increases at the conclusion of its two-day policy meeting on Wednesday. Consumer inflation data for November lands on Tuesday and is expected to show a 6.1% rise in the core reading on a year-on-year basis, which excludes, once again, we covered this yesterday. I don't like the fact that they exclude these things, but which excludes food and energy prices. Down from 6.3% in October. In late morning trading, the euro rose 0.1% against the dollar to $1.05. The single European currency has gained almost 8% so far in the fourth quarter, as investors have previously banked on the European Central Bank. Okay, so this is from rfbnews.com. That last article, like I said, the Algorand article was from Cointelegraph. Make sure you check these guys out. I'm not reading the entirety of the articles. I'm just reading little pieces. So just make sure you check them out so you can get the rest of that information there and they can get some traffic over on their websites, okay? Because these people are doing a great job. So now let's move on here. This article is from Euronews.com and it's titled, UK cannot take foreign bond buyers for granted, Treasury official. Britain, okay, it says here, Britain cannot take for granted that foreign investors will have a strong appetite for its government debt. Who's not? Like, we want a piece of that value. The finance ministry's top official, we make money everywhere. That's just how it goes. You know how this is a money game. We're going to make money wherever we can. The finance ministry's top official, Permanent Secretary James Bowler, told lawmakers on Monday. Harriet Baldwin, the conservative lawmaker who chairs the House of Commons Treasury Committee, asked, like, why do they do that? Like, I don't care who's a non-conservative, who's a conservative. Just tell me what the person is saying. Give me their name and their position. That's all I need to know. Like, just personally, that's how I feel. You know, but it's like weird. Some entities like to ingrain politics and everything. I just need to know what they're saying. I can judge what they're saying for myself. Right. But anyway, that's just personally how I feel. Asked Bowler if he agreed with former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney that Britain's finances were, quote, dependent on the kindness of strangers. I mean, like, you've been operating in a globalist light system. So across the world, this is happening. You know, across the world, this is happening. It's not just you. Quote, by definition, yes, Bowler said, quote, the UK trades its financing requirement internationally. So if you want to issue debt, you have to do so on the open market. That will find the price that people are willing to pay for it. Quote, historically, our financing requirement is high. So we can't take in any way, shape, or form that demand for granted. Of course not. Of course not. So once again, that's from Euro News. OK, make sure to check them out. They're doing a great job. Now, let's continue on here. More money news. Canadian dollar nears multi-week low ahead of central bank governor's comments. Let's scroll down, read just a little tidbit here. The Canadian dollar, CAD/USD, weakened against the greenback on Monday, moving within range of a multi-week low as investors waited for the Bank of Canada governor to attend a fireside chat for possible clues on the likelihood of further rate hikes. The BOC has said it will study the latest economic data to gauge whether to raise interest rates further after lifting them last Wednesday to 4.25%, the highest level in almost 15 years. Okay, so we're going to leave that at there. Interesting things happening as of late with these central banks. So this is from Yahoo, okay, money.yahoo.com. And it's titled Stock Market News Live Update. Stocks soar as all eyes turn to inflation data Fed meeting. I can't wait to see or hear what their decisions were or what they were supposed to do or what they're going to do, because they are so flip-floppy. And I don't like the negation of certain data. I don't like that. Let's take everything together as a whole and let's bring inflation down overall. I mean, look, energy and food is important also, isn't it? So why are we only looking at certain information compartmentalized? This is personally how I feel. I don't see anything that would change my view of that. Let's continue on here. U.S. stocks rallied Monday ahead of a busy week for investors. With key inflation data in the Fed's last policy meeting of the year on tap over the next 2 days, the S&P 500 gained 1.4%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average increased by 1.5%, or more than 500 points. The technology-heavy NASDAQ Composite advanced 1.2%. Let me guess. Hold on a second. Let me stop. Listen. I mean, people are still under the belief, and maybe it's going to happen, but they're still under the belief or going by the belief that the Fed is going to be dovish. Even though certain entities from the Fed have sounded very hawkish. Very hawkish. And these are the articles I'm reading, right? But the mainstream is pushing the dovish angle, so people are going by that, you know. So, well, I mean, look, we're going to find out. We're going to see. It's going to be very interesting, in my humble opinion. It says the rally served as a rebound from stock's worst week since September. The S&P 500 dropped 3.4% last week, while the Dow fell 2.8% and the NASDAQ dropped 4%. All right, so I'm going to leave that there. Once again, this is from Yahoo, money.yahoo.com. And this is from reporter Donnie Romero. Check out the rest of that. This is a tremendous article here. Very, very good article. So make sure you check them out over there. All right. So now we're going to end off with what? A little bit of gold news. All right. Because gold makes me happy. All right. I admit it. So, let's go down here. I'm just having a little bit of fun, everybody. So this is from sharpspixley.com, sharpspixley.com. All right. We've covered articles from them before. They do a great job. Lori Williams, gold and silver nervous ahead of FOMC and CPI, but they shouldn't be. Thank you so much for saying that, because I was reading the headline saying, what? Nervous? They could go down a little bit depending on what happens. Depending on what happens. But as far as the future, we're solid. The catalysts are all there. We're solid. Gold and silver. Oh, silver. Have you done your research on silver? Have you done your research on how much is going to be needed? Have you done your research and found out that a lot of what they're pushing, their agendas that they're pushing, are going to require massive amounts of silver? Then if they require massive amounts of silver, what does it do to that price? Theoretically speaking, of course, there's no guarantees, but the wise know. So we're solid. Where there's gold, if you say gold or silver, I'm just like, I'm not worried at all. Just my personal feelings, not financial advice. I got to do things in different ways to keep it interesting for myself. Somebody out there's like, what's wrong with Alphanine, bro? There's something wrong with bro. Nah, I just like to have a little bit of fun, keep things interesting. Now, let's read this little tidbit here. Last week, both gold and silver prices looked as though they might be going to climb upwards through previously hard to cross barriers. But in gold's case, this was not to be. Oh, I like how you wrote that. Ooh. Although silver has so far been able to hang on to its plus $23 level, although it has fallen slightly more than gold in percentage terms. For whatever reason, after breaching $1,800 level to the upside by a few dollars, gold was not allowed to stay there at the week's close and was bought down to $1,797.90. We had half suspected that it might regain $1,800 at the start of the current week in Asian or European trade. But this was not to be. Bro, who wrote this? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I like this. This sounds like some Shakespeare or something. I don't know. Some Milton. I like it. Where do we leave? Now I lost my spot. I scrolled up to find out who wrote this, and now I've lost my spot. Says, okay, so presumably the markets having been spooked by Friday's PPI rather poor inflation figures, suggesting that despite other readings to the contrary, the inflation menace may not yet have peaked after all. Ooh, I told you. Possibly putting any relaxation of the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate relaxation policy at risk. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.